This is Getting On With Life, Biblical Wisdom for Successful Christian Living. And this lesson is Despising God. People can feel quite strong feelings against someone else. It is as if they are allergic to that person, and even the mention of their name causes them to react. I find this among those who have political opinions. Some people are totally convinced their party or candidate is right, and others are toxically bad. When the other party wins office and their leader leads the nation, people can choke with contempt for the winning person and party. I note too that many people like to focus on key leaders in other countries, especially America, but also places getting media attention from time to time, pouring contempt on the leader. Often this is done in ignorance, based on whatever media bias they have been served up. These feelings of despisement can run very deep, as bitterness, resentment, hatred, or the like. People can become obsessed with despising someone they have taken a set against. Of course, this also occurs with racial and social prejudice, sport, unforgiveness toward those who wronged us, and so on. In Australia, we enjoy relative escape from cultural and racial prejudices. However, we can be unkind to migrant groups and foreign cultures when they come here. When traveling in the Balkans in Europe, I met a young Australian who had returned to his parents' homeland for a holiday. He was shocked at the centuries-old hatred embedded in those cultures. He described Aussies as being like children who have not yet realized the pain and strife of life in many cultures. In Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, I learned of deep tribal hatred based on atrocities committed on each side. Wise Christian leaders struggled to bring healing to deeply felt attitudes. Such deeply entrenched animosities occur around the world based on race, religion, culture, and history. Each new generation is schooled in the long-held animosities, and hatred, fear, distrust, and desire for vengeance are passed down to those who will perpetuate it. It seems to be a human disease to develop deeply held resentments and despisement. I've long marveled at how readily people will go on the campaign trail to sell their hate message, set on exposing the evils of a person, race, or culture. We are swamped with hate information, attacking or undermining just about everyone and everything you could ever want to support. So it's not surprising that there are many who campaign against God. They are not content to just ignore God or decide He doesn't exist, but they feel great commitment to denigrating God and mocking Him. God haters are as intent on selling their anti-God message as all those others with their pet hatred. There are many who believe in God, yet who despise Him. It's like them despising the ruler of their nation, but having to defer to his authority. I respect that you hold high office, but I despise you and can't wait for you to be removed from office. They know who God is, but they've chosen to resent Him and to subvert God's claims wherever they can. I note, sadly, there is little cure for those who are sold on their tribal rivalry or deeply held antagonisms. They become blind to all evidence they are wrong or that the one despised deserves some respect or love. Christ is the one obvious cure for despisement and bitter rivalries. Only Christ brings the kind of forgiveness, grace, love, and higher living that can lift people out of their pit of bitter feelings and set them in a new place of freedom. I remember meeting two men who were on opposite sides of the Greece-Macedonia tensions of last century. Greece annexed part of Macedonia and tried to stamp out all use of Macedonian language. One of the men I met fought for Greece, while the other for Macedonia. At the height of the tensions, terrible things were done by both sides. When both men came to faith after moving to Australia, they ended up in the same church, worshipping together. They stood and shared testimony that through Christ, the deeply held despisement was swept away, and they could stand and embrace each other. People don't come free from deeply held despisement by willpower, because those hatreds take hold of the person's heart. When we give ourselves to evil, that evil owns us, and we can't just throw it off when we want. We are enslaved to it. So we need a Savior to rescue us from the enemy of our sin and the evil we have allowed to rule in our heart and mind. Jesus conquered sin and evil, so He can break the grip of resentment, bitterness, hatred, despisement, vengeance, unforgiveness, and the like. When we humble ourselves before God and receive Christ, God's power works in us to cut the chains of our wrong attitudes. So, Even for those despising God, there is ability to be completely set free from such obsessive slavery of heart and mind. It starts with humility, letting God be God, and humbly allowing God to become our rescuer through Christ. So, friends, recognize the power of Christ to remove all barriers we have set up between ourselves and others, and be ready to rescue others, even those who are despising God. God bless you.